Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Dynamo video. We're talking about prize picks for the NFL full season, so you can actually place these props up until September 7th. Things like total rush yards, pass yards, receiving yards, and then touchdowns as well. So we're going to get all into this one. Got some interesting stuff for you. 5 picks like every other video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Check out the other daily videos on prize picks that I put out on basically all sports. Also, if you want to get access to 10 of our cappers picks for prize picks, you can get a 1-day free trial actually here. It'll be linked down below, and then after that it's just $1 per day for all these picks. We have the pick of the day where our cappers post their one favorite pick for the day. We got people posting their MLB slips, WNBA slips during the off season, golf slips, a lot of esports slips, and we've been crushing it with esports, fight picks, and then just anything else. Right now we're in Summer League. We also got our player projections based on our models, and we posted the rankings of all our cappers here, so very transparent. So try it out, linked down below for the 1-day free trial, and then after that less than $1 per day. So for this one, the first one that comes up in NFL season, rush yards. Unfortunately, I think a lot of this is just based on players' injuries or sitting out games, which is kind of what I'm going to try to avoid in this video. So mostly just considering they're going to play a full season and not targeting guys that are super injury prone for this video. Like Barkley, you don't know if he might sit out some games for his rushing yard total and things like that. But one guy I do like here is going to be Joe Mixon at 850 on the season rushing yards. Going to be taking the over on that. You know, Mixon, some people thought they might have brought in another running back because he's had a pretty bad season, but they didn't. He's still going to be the go-to guy. Played just 14 games last year and still got 814 yards. If he played 15 games, he probably would have hit the 850 mark that he's at. So assuming he's healthy, I think he definitely can hit that, and there's no reason to not expect him to be healthy. He was terrible last year, a 3.9 yard per carry average. And honestly, even in his good season, he was only 4.1. But I think he can get back 4 plus and get more than 210 carries as well, and get back closer to 900 to 1,000 rushing yard season for Mixon. I see a bounce back season for Mixon here. So did miss 3 games as well, and still almost hit this yard total. So I'm taking Mixon. Another guy that has been injury prone, which is why this one's risky, it's going to be McCaffrey at 850 yards. I'm taking the over on McCaffrey as well. If we look at McCaffrey, obviously wasn't healthy 2020 or 2021. Before that, played 3 straight full seasons, and when he was the lead back, easily went over 1,000 yards. This past season, he actually played 17 games between the Panthers and the 49ers, so was fully healthy, and if you add both these up, he's like over 1,100 rushing yards. Even in 11 games with the Niners, he hit 746 yards. If he'd played 13 games at the same yard per game, he would have hit over 850 rushing yards. So if you think he's going to play at least 13 games, you should be taking the over. There's no reason really to think that he won't be healthy unless something crazy happens to him. And honestly, last year they were like splitting carries a good amount with McCaffrey. They weren't working him super hard. So if they're battling for, playoff spots, they might be pushing him a little more as well, getting more carries out of him. So I definitely like McCaffrey. Now moving on to some quarterbacks. And looking at pass yards in this, I like it a little better than the pass touchdowns. I'm going to Derek Carr here, 3,775, taking the over. I think the Saints are going to be really good, especially in that weak division. I think that he's going to have some massive games. He's got great receivers. Michael Thomas is going to come back strong, hopefully. They got Olave. They got that other rookie, Rashid Shaheed or something. They got Juwan Johnson, Kamara out of the backfield. I think Derek Carr is going to have some great weapons here in New Orleans. Obviously, again, it's just a matter of him playing all the games, staying healthy. If we look at Derek Carr last season, they basically benched him for the last 2 games, so didn't get there with 3,500 yards. Season before that, 4,800 yards, 41, 4,000, 4,000. So besides last year, 4 straight seasons above 4,000. He just needs basically 3,800. And obviously we have 17 games on the schedule now, not just 16 like some of these seasons were for Carr back when he was still hitting 4,000 yards. I just think he has too many weapons, an easy division where he should be able to have some massive games. And I still think he's really solid. And I'll be taking that yardage over the touchdowns. Has never been a huge touchdown passing guy, more of a yards guy here. So I like Derek Carr on the yards rather than the touchdowns. The next quarterback, going to Trevor Lawrence. Again, I like his yards better than his passing touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, looking at it last year, he barely would have missed it by 30 yards, but the Jaguars really didn't start to pick it up offensively until the end of the season, and then Trevor Lawrence was absolutely going crazy, so didn't get a really full season of this crazy Jaguars offense that we saw later in the year. Now they get Calvin Ridley back. They got Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, ETN out of the backfield. I think he just has so many weapons, probably more than Derek Carr, or better weapons than Derek Carr even. And after a really good season, I think he's going to back it up with another crazy season here. He's one of the highest drafted quarterbacks in fantasy. And I'd rather go to the yards here than touchdowns. I think he's going to increase on this yard total next year. I really like Trevor Lawrence on the over. So then for the last one, we're going to a receiver pick. And it's kind of a pairing with Trevor Lawrence here. But we're actually going to receiving touchdowns. And we're going to go to Calvin Ridley. I like him on the touchdowns or yards, honestly. I think he's going to have a massive season with Lawrence. People forget how good Ridley was before he had some weird stuff going on. If we look at his stats in 2021, I can't exactly remember what happened, but he only played 5 games for like mental health reasons or something. I might be making that up, but something crazy. And then obviously spended all of last year for gambling. But he's back now. People have been raving about him in Jaguars camp and talking about how good he is, and people forget how good he was. You know, with Julio Jones being a monster in 2018 and 2019, still got over 821 yards twice, still got 10 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns. He's at 6 touchdowns. He's a touchdown monster, obviously. From these first 3 seasons, even in 2021, when he wasn't right, he was on pace for more than 6 touchdowns. He had 2 in 5 games. Obviously, there's 17 games, so you got to multiply that 2 times like 3.2 or whatever it comes out to. And if he played a full season, he would have had like 7, 8, 9 touchdowns in this season as well. And I think just with Trevor Lawrence, he's going to be in a great situation here. Can't wait to see Lawrence and Ridley. And I like this pairing here. And I just think that the touchdowns are a little safer than the yards because he's been a huge touchdown guy his entire career. And there's a bit of a concern, you know, that Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, ETN eat up some of these receiving yards because they do have so many weapons. But Ridley, just a red zone target, even at his kind of smaller stature. I think that he just has a knack for finding the end zone. All right, so if you enjoyed this one, subscribe to the channel. Check out that 1-day free trial on our picks from 10 of our best cappers on Prizepicks for all sports. You're going to get the 1-day trial. Then after that, less than $1 per day. Also subscribe to the channel for these daily videos on Prizepicks that we're putting out on all sports as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.